Bonnie's Insider is brought to you by Universal Primary Care, providing care to the entire family.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Bonnie's Insider, brought to you by Universal Primary Care. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Tommy Valentine. Big things are happening for our athletic teams here at St. Bonaventure as we slowly approach the return of live sports. Many programs have begun to transition into intra-squad scrimmages. In fact, we'll be checking in on our softball team and their brown and white softball game from last week. Later, Tim Kenney is back for our second installment of From the AD's Office, and this week's segment of Coach's Corner features an interview with women's head soccer coach Steve Brdarski. Kicking off the show is our player profile as we sat down with a member of our men's basketball team who, although being fairly new on campus, has quickly become a fan favorite. Let's get to know Jaren Holmes.
Summer workouts have been great. I'm excited to be back with my family and my guys. Not really a whole lot of goals. I just want to win an A-10 championship and get a ring on my finger. A-10 is a tough conference, tough teams. You got to bring it every night, and so I'm excited, to get back to playing those type of teams and show teams what we're made of. My brother's the best athlete. He's an amazing baseball player. If he had an opportunity to play basketball, I'm sure he would play Division I. He's already a professional, and that's where I want to be one day. I know it's crazy that I look up to my little brother, but he's doing it. And I'm sure he looks up to me in certain ways. Over this quarantine, we became a lot closer because we had so much time together. That was the first time we really were able to be together for at least longer than maybe a month or a weekend or 2 months. It was exciting. I love being with them, and it was a great workout. Nothing has ever come easy to me. I wasn't always the most in shape guy. I wasn't always the strongest or the most athletic. I've never been most athletic. I just try to outthink you, make the right play, and just be a great teammate. I've always had a strong mentality, but I think that's overall just helped me be better as a person and a player. I want to be the next Woj. It's always been my dream to be a sports broadcaster on ESPN. I feel like I have a niche for talking about the games that I love. I like talking. I like being around people. I think that's just like the greatest job of all time. They're talking about something that they enjoy talking about and just getting paid for it. That's always been a dream of mine. That was always a goal of mine coming out of college. It's like, Mom, I want to do that. I want to be that. I want to be like Stephen A. Smith. I want to be like Woj. I want to be like Charles, Kenney. I want to do that. That's something that I want to do and have fun while doing it.
Jaren is the definition of what it means to be a St. Bonaventure student athlete, and we're expecting big things from him when he leads that team back out onto the court. Well, Jaren isn't the only student athlete that has been working their tail off this offseason. Let's hear from a few members of our men's lacrosse team as they talk about their return to campus and how workouts have been like during this pandemic.
We had to go through a 2-week protocol of no contact and just small individual groups, but now since we're over that, we're getting back into slow group things, and it's been good. Taking it slow was kind of a big deal because not everyone was able to do the necessary things over the summer because they didn't have the available resources. So taking it slow was able to allow guys to slowly progress themselves back up, and I'd say we're almost back to 100%. You could do like wall ball and you could shoot around, but there wasn't much you could do. There's no gyms, you couldn't really go on fields or anything like that, but you just stuck to it and I had to keep grinding. We've been good, and I'm excited to see where the year goes.
Yeah, I had to arrive 2 weeks early, so I arrived here on the 5th, and I had to quarantine for 2 weeks in my dorm room by myself, which was, it is what it is. It's going a little crazy in there, but I'm happy to be here, ready to get to work. It's really interesting. Got a lot of free time, hanging out with the guys, getting my schoolwork done, and then just, chilling out, getting ready for practice, doing the things I need to do for the next day. So the guys on the team, they made it a really easy transition from high school lacrosse to D1 college here. All the guys, the coaches, they really help you out a lot. They're really here for you and to get the best out of you. They're trying to grow us and see what we're about and see what we can do and just take it from there and see what we can make this team do.
And I'm from Texas, so we had a lot of stuff going on down there, but as far as tournaments and stuff, there wasn't really much to go to or much to coach or anything. So it was hard to kind of stay around the sport, but it was nice watching the PLL and seeing some lacrosse on TV. It was a lot different. You're kind of running around with all your friends and stuff usually, but you kind of had to socially distance. And it was just a lot more work this summer, which is good. I could always use that. So it was weird kind of getting into the actual groove of stuff, but we're kind of getting back in the groove, and it's really not that much different for us. It's pretty frustrating knowing that we were stripped from a season last year, and really it's just kind of working harder to be better this year.
And you have to commend all our teams here at St. Bonaventure for working so hard towards their season while adhering to social distancing guidelines. Tim Kenney leads us off after the break with From the AD's Office. You're watching Bonnie's Insider, brought to you by UPC.
What's the best way to pick the right college? Use your head and make a practical choice based on cost and academics? Or follow your heart to a place that just feels right? At St. Bonaventure, you can do both. Here, you'll join a unique community that celebrates individuality, meet professors as passionate about people as they are about learning, and form lifelong connections without a lifetime of debt. Come see for yourself why St. Bonaventure isn't just a special place, it's a smart choice.
Away from campus? No problem. You can follow Go Bonnies wherever you are on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Keep up with all your favorite squad. And don't forget to use the hashtag Unfurl.
Welcome back to Bonnie's Insider, brought to you by UPC. I mentioned earlier in the show the terrific progress our athletic teams have been making towards their season. That could not be possible without the diligence of the St. Bonaventure community to execute the return to play plan that was put in place over the summer, thanks to the hard work of so many coaches and staff members within the athletic department. Tim Kenney echoes that in this week's installment of From the AD's Office and discusses why Bona's athletics was able to thrive during this pandemic.
The staff here in the athletic department has been unbelievable. They have gone above and beyond, not just with the planning and the protocols and everything, where we had a group within the department that consisted of staff, coaches, even some athlete input to make sure we were doing everything the right way in the best interest of the student athletes when they get back here. When you talk about the coaches and what they did, and every coach had at least one Zoom meeting a week with their team, if not more. And they stayed in touch. You want to find some silver linings and things. That's something I think is going to keep going throughout the summers, year in and year out, because the kids actually really liked sitting there and talking and seeing everybody in one group, especially with the coaches, and getting information. Everyone has really worked extremely hard, and we knew it was going to be a challenge. I think our staff has done a phenomenal job, whether it was communicating, planning, or keeping in touch with the student athletes and keeping them calm too, because they had a lot of uncertainties. For us in athletics, we love working with the kids. That's why we're in this business. To look out there now and see that they're out on the field practicing or they're doing individuals, it lifts up a lot of people's spirits, number one. But number two, I feel great for the kids because it's giving them some sense of normalcy right now. They're doing something they love to do. They came here to play a sport and go to school at St. Bonaventure. They're able to do that right now during this pandemic. It really warmed our hearts to be able to sit there and say, look out on the field and go, look at that. That's great. We're doing this right now. Sometimes what people think is a little bit of a knock on the school, whether it's its size or its location, is actually in this case an advantage for us. That also brought us a concern that we are bringing students in from all other places, so that made it even more diligent on our monitoring, that we had to make sure we had that taken care of, because we don't want to be responsible for all of a sudden blowing up down here. So you kind of had that added pressure on top of making sure the kids were safe. But in the end, the fact that it was so low down here made us feel really good that we could actually open up safely. One of the challenges right now is planning for competition. All our fall sports have been postponed to be moved to the spring. As a conference in the A10, our fall sports moving to the spring are going to play a season and have a championship. Whether the NCAA decides to hold a championship for those sports, that doesn't matter, because we want to make sure our kids are able to compete. We don't want to have a kind of a repeat of what happened last spring, where it got cut short and then there's no opportunity to even make that up. We're committed to that. However, dates are going to be interesting because I think it's really fluid right now. Obviously, with basketball, we know we have 1 month of ability to play games out of conference, and then the conference season starts. That's if the conference season stays the same. We might have to make it a little bit longer and create some bye dates for makeup games, because it's not just getting the games in, is what if someone has to miss games? Major League Baseball is able to do doubleheaders and with 7 innings, so they're fitting it in to make the games up. However, in a sport like basketball, that makes it a lot harder, and with so much riding on it, meaning NCAA bids, which we hope that the tournament will be going on We don't know any different, so we know the NCAA tournament is here. This is when we're doing this. Now that could shift too. Don't know. We're not privy in those conversations until they come to us for feedback. But there are thought processes. Do you move it? Do you not? And then you could sit there and say, well, how do you make up games? How do you do games that are important? So these are all the conversations going on right now. For this upcoming basketball season, we probably worked out about 4 or 5 scenarios, all the way from a full ability to have everybody in the stands to having nobody in the stands. We've done a couple of different scenarios in between. And it really is all going to be dependent upon what we're allowed to do based on the governor and his plan to make sure we can reopen the state in a systematic way. Currently, right now, we can't have fans. We're not allowed to. The Buffalo Bills can't have fans. Nobody, the Mets, Yankees, you name it, don't have fans right now. Will that change? It might. And we hope we have enough plans between the two extremes that we could pivot and enact on them right away. If they say 25%, well, what does that mean? Who wants to get in? Obviously, you want to have student representation. You want to have your supporters who have had tickets for years and years. You want to take care of them. Does it mean, all right, you get to go to a couple of games, another group gets to go to a couple of games? There's about 5 scenarios we've worked on right now to say, okay, once we know, then we can move. The interesting thing is going to be if it changes midstream. It might start off with nobody, but maybe there's a vaccine or maybe there's a huge break in the treatment that it eases up on some of these restrictions and you could add more people, so we'll have to be flexible on both of this. So I think the key word I keep using is flexible, because with a lot of these unknowns, we have to pivot and be able to move quickly, because in the world of athletics, you'll get left behind quick if you're not ready to act with new information. In the end, I just want to say that it's been great to be able to sit here and know we have people that'll help. And they really enabled us to meet the budget and help the school not have to dip into any reserves, and to close out the year really balanced, and then to move forward with a plan with some belt tightening that we're in a pretty good shape right now. We had to eliminate some certain things, but nothing that would affect the student-athlete experience, and that was a big part of when we were making our decision-making. So in the end, I couldn't thank the Bonnie Nation enough.
When live sports do return to St. Bonaventure, the feel of the games will no doubt be very different, especially when the RC isn't rocking like we're accustomed to when our basketball teams step out on the court. However, players like junior center Oshun Oshuni, while disappointed at possibly not having any fans in attendance, know they can rely on their teammates to make up for that lack of energy.
In a way, it's bad. Like, if you've seen the NBA bubble, a lot of guys are saying it feels different not being able to feed off the energy of the crowd. So that's going to be a big thing. The Riley Center is one of the craziest places to play in the country. So when the Riley Center is going crazy, it helps us get better. So, I mean, in a way, it'll be bad, but at the same time, we as a team feed off of each other's energy in practice. So if we're playing a practice or scrimmage or something like that, and one team is doing well, we're going to feed off each other. So it'll be weird not having fans. We don't have fans, but at the same time, we can feed off each other and bring our own energy at the same time. It's like if we're in an away game, because it seems like we're always in an away game. There's no fans rooting for us, but we can feed off each other. You do something well in practice, and your teammates are like, yeah, like, I don't have a problem screaming in an empty gym if I do something. Like, I don't really care if the gym's full or gym's empty. If I do something really good, I'm going to let you know in a way.
Here we go. The Bonnie's men's basketball team is at work preparing as plans for the upcoming season become clearer. The NCAA has set November 25th as the start date for Division I basketball competition, and Bonnie's officials are hard at work putting together a schedule after needing to scrap the originally planned non-conference slate.
I think we're going to be more than ready. Starting the 25th. We're all talking. We're all doing day-to-day things. The instructions and stuff given to us by our weight coaches and head coaches and stuff like that. So I'm definitely thinking that we're going to be more than ready come the 25th.
And as Bonnie fans know, few programs in the country display quite as much chemistry as Mark Schmidt's squad. Coming up after the break, head women's soccer coach Steve Brdarski steps into the coach's corner. You're watching Bonnie's Insider, brought to you by UPC.
You'll light candles with strangers the day you arrive, and extinguish them with lifelong friends the day you leave this place. A place that will transform your life, inside and outside the classroom. A place where you'll learn to care about each other and about others you never imagined caring about. A place where people help you believe in yourself. For 160 years, St. Bonaventure University has helped good students become great people.
Away from campus? No problem. You can follow Go Bonnies wherever you are on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Keep up with all your favorite squad. And don't forget to use the hashtag Unfurl.
Thanks for sticking around with us here on Bonnie's Insider, brought to you by UPC. The game of soccer is so much more than just wins and losses for head women's soccer coach Steve Brdarski. But in 2020, he may be facing his toughest challenge yet, preparing a team for a season amid a pandemic and coping with the loss of 8 upperclassmen. But as always, he's finding the way to make the most out of each season. Let's take a look at this week's Coach's Corner.
It's exciting for us, being back the last 5 weeks with the group. Seeing their excitement to be back on the field, being with their teammates. I think that was the biggest thing that we've missed in this last 6 months. So it's been great. We've, as coaches, we were looking forward to getting them on the field, being able to, kind of put in place some of the things that we've worked on, talked about, But obviously, I think just the attitude, the camaraderie, the family aspect. Again, soccer field is where we do what we do, but it's been the place that's brought us together now, and so we've appreciated that part. It's difficult to not just say, hey, you can do things the way you've done them before. Our team has been great from the idea that they come to practice saying, what are we going to do? How are we doing this? Is it 2 groups? Is it 1 group? Are we contact? Is it social distancing? And they've done a really great job of whatever we've put in front of them. They've been able to do it. Credit to, again, also our coaching staff. And I think we have the best coach in the country when it comes to Abby Pearson. She's done amazing things in being able to put together training sessions where we're still getting touches, we're still doing the things that we need to do, but they fit into those guidelines. So that's where we've been blessed. This moment right now is I think so special because, as a small school, I think we've all come together to be able to do what's best. And, we're asking things from whether it's faculty, staff, students, alums. Everybody still cares, because we want Bonus to be what it is and what it's always been for all of us. When you look at the youth of our team, I think, part of the challenge is, not having maybe the atypical preseason that we're used to having. And as coaches, we're blessed, having 2 or 3 weeks where you just have your team together and you're working on team dynamics, team chemistry. First and foremost, I think we have older players that respect the youth of our group, and they've stepped up into leadership roles of being able to be supportive. I want to give credit to all of our upperclassmen. Like, we have a really big sophomore class. Between the sophomores, juniors, and seniors, they've all done collectively what they've needed to do to really welcome in this incoming group. We're living in the present. We're living in the moment. The easy thing to do sometimes is you prepare for a game. That's the easiest thing to do. You know who the opponent is. You know what you have to do. And you're going to try to meet as many of those expectations as you possibly can. For right now, though, the goal or initiative for every one of our girls is to be better. Every day, can you be a better person, better student athlete, better community member than you were yesterday? We're not letting wins and losses dictate anything. We're letting our own personal development and our own personal performance be that. Then the second thing I think obviously we want for our group is, just this ability to be able to develop into a team, and, taking every day not for granted. Taking every practice for what it is, an opportunity to be able to get better, but also be able to spend time together and to be able to do the things that we really want to tackle and go through. And so I think as the year goes on, we'll continue to keep changing what our goals and our initiatives are. Right now, we just have the utmost respect for, the last 5 weeks, our girls have done exactly what we've asked. And if they continue to do that, they continue to work hard, continue to do the things that we put in front of them, great things will happen for us.
The great thing about Steve Brdarski, no matter who steps out on that field, they're going to give it their all. The true sign of a great coach. Before we wrap up Bonnie's Insider for the week, the softball team is midway through their 3rd annual Brown and White World Series, a month-long best-of-9 series that gives players something extra to play for this fall. A matchup that's quickly becoming a tradition. We met with the 2 coaches to find out what makes this matchup so enjoyable.
Well, actually, I started it before he got here. So, we had done it a few years. I think it was a year or 2 after he got here. We started up again because now we had 2 coaches that that could do this and run both teams.
It's kind of evolved into a little bit of a battle within the team in a good-natured, friendly way for bragging rights and, you know, that kind of thing. It's been a real positive thing. I think that we like it, we get a kick out of it, and I think that the kids on the team do too.
We actually have a draft. So we sit down, we sit in the office, and we make drafts. We pick our spots and pick the players that are going to go on those teams, and then we hope to come out here and we have a good series. It's been best of 7 in the past. This year's the best of 9. The first 2 World Series he won. So and I have to admit,
didn't lose a game.
Didn't lose a game. So it's 4-0, 4-0. So I had to win a game sooner or later. I finally broke the streak. We're coaching each team, but the bottom line, we're trying to get better. We're trying to get better as players. We're trying to get better as coaches. And we're trying to get better as a program. And so that, and we're just having fun doing it. That's what the whole goal is.
For me, I think in a deeper way, it's even more than just the game, because we spend so much time with them and they spend so much time with us and each other that just having them back is like having your family back together. And people that don't live in our world, other coaches, other schools, programs at the collegiate level, they don't understand that sense of family and that continuity because you're together all the time and you know everything about one another. There's little inside jokes and all of those things going on. And to have the rug yanked out from under us like it was last spring and have the seniors last year get to lose that opportunity to come out the last day and have senior day, and underclassmen lost opportunities across the country and, you know, to develop and get that other year under their belt. And now I think it's just a sense of we're blessed to be back out here, but to be around the people that we care about so much is so important. You know, and I know that my wife's going crazy because she's begging to come down and watch, and she can't, and so she's watching online, and like every other parent is and all that. So it's just a big, huge family. I think we've done a really good job at creating those bonds.
The blessing of having to get back out here and playing, and how it got taken away last year at the spur of the moment, you know. And I think they're seeing it as a whole new start. You know, you're looking at the season in softball and every sport at this level right now. Is it any chance you get to play and come out here? It's a blessing. And you know, there's a lot of schools right now that ain't getting an opportunity. You know, they're not out here. They're not practicing. They're not competing. And schools right in the A10 are not practicing in softball. So I think they know that. I think you can feel that from them. You know, it can be taken away in a heartbeat, and it's nobody's fault. It was nobody's fault. And so it just comes back down to starting this thing over and doing it right. He and I have been best friends for a long, long time. You know, we've competed against each other on the field for real when he was at Hartford. And, you know, and it's fun to obviously to compete against each other out here, knowing, you know, that there really isn't technically anything at stake except for some bragging rights, you know. And I'll let him have it for a while. You know, the thing is, he's a Phillies fan, I'm a Yankee fan, so I'm going to have bragging rights for life on that one. So I'm good to go with that.
Good luck. You'll probably need it.
You got no shot.
All right, that's all I got.
It just has to feel great to be back on the field for these players, and of course having bragging rights against your teammates for an entire year is a nice little bonus. That's all the time we have this week for Bonnie's Insider, and here's what you have coming up for you next week. We have a pair of can't-miss features on the docket. We spotlight St. Bonaventure Athletics' involvement with Friends of Jacqueline, an organization supporting children with cancer. And in our alumni spotlight, we chat with men's basketball alumnus Chris Matthews, better known on social media as Lethal Shooter, one of the most in-demand NBA shooting coaches in the world. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. I hope to see you right back here next time on Bonnie's Insider. I'm Tommy Valentine. So long, and thanks for watching.
Bonnie's Insider has been brought to you by Universal Primary Care, providing care to the entire family.